This video's review is Raging Bull, one of my favorites. Definitely one of Scorsese's best, and those are fighting words. Fighting words that Jake LaMotta might have some issue with. The real life Jake LaMotta, who sued them for making the movie. Anyway, definitely hailed as one of the best movies of not just the 80s, but of all time. Nominated for Best Picture in 1980. It did not win. It lost to Ordinary People, which it's a good movie, but it's no Raging Bull. Definitely a great movie, and this is actually I just recently got the Blu-ray and watched it recently. I have the VHS, I have the DVD. I've watched this movie so many times. I can't tell you how many times I've watched this. But seeing it on Blu-ray for the first time was quite something. Really jumps in the black and white cinematography. I mean, it really comes to, I guess, life is the way to put it, but really looks pristine and beautiful on Blu-ray, and kind of the reason why I think they sort of chose black and white for the style of the movie, why Scorsese went that way, in part to kind of match that it is, the time frame of the movies. Of the movie, I mean, in Jake LaMotta's life, but also just because I think they could probably get away with some more intense fight scenes, some boxing scenes, than what may have been allowed. I mean, definitely Scorsese was no stranger with the MPAA when it came to something like Taxi Driver, where at the end of the film he had to desaturate the color, and it lost kind of its effect. But this way, it's him having the last laugh without having to censor anything. Technically, apparently they used chocolate syrup for the blood. That's the story, which I'm not sure if that's true or not, but that sounds like it would be true. De Niro in a great performance, Oscar-winning performance. His second Oscar, his first one for lead actor. Well deserved. Not just for the fact that, of course, he quite infamously gained a bunch of weight for the movie. Gained like 60 pounds. You see him at in the early stages of Jake LaMotta's life, and you see him in the later stages, like whoa. But yeah, great commitment as an actor that you don't see too often. But the performance itself, it is just brilliant. I do think it is one of his best. Which again, it's fighting words with De Niro, but it really is a complex character that wouldn't think of himself as complex. It's the best way I can put it. I mean, definitely with Scorsese's characters, you find that they do have certain common traits that he keeps on kind of going back to with at least some of his movies. Where they do feel like they are have a certain sin that they need to atone for, and in some ways they kind of latch on to these female figures that can supposedly redeem them. Like you've seen it with Taxi Driver, with The Aviator, with Leo, and definitely with this film, most definitely with this film, with LaMotta's young wife, played by Kathleen Moriarty, who's great in her role. I mean, she was pretty much an unknown before doing this movie. She didn't do too much after, but she definitely, so to speak, butted heads with De Niro, and really matched the level of intensity that he brought to the role. And I think it's an exceptional performance by both of them. She was also nominated for supporting actress. Of course, Joe Pesci, also kind of an unknown. I mean, before this movie came out, not too many people knew who Joe Pesci was. Now everybody knows who Joe Pesci is. But this was kind of his breakthrough film as Jake LaMotta's brother and manager, and great dynamic between the two. I mean, like, you really feel their camaraderie. You really feel that they are brothers, and you really feel the heartbreak when things go so sour for them, and how sour it goes, but how irresistible it is to watch regardless. I mean, that's, did you fuck my wife? Did you fuck my wife, Joey? What are you talking about? I didn't fuck your wife. What are you, crazy? You're eating too much. Brilliant. And I mean, just Scorsese was really at the top of his game with this film. I do think it should have won the Academy Award, but I don't know. Hindsight is always 20/20. I like Ordinary People. I think it's a great film, but for it to win Best Picture over this movie, this great movie, it just seems impossible to me. I don't know. And director Robert Redford, he won over Scorsese. This is some of Scorsese's finest work. I mean, but whatever. I mean, you can't really hold a grudge because, Scorsese did end up getting his Oscar, so that's great. And at least, at the very least, De Niro won for Best Actor for this, which was well deserved for his performance. And it's just a beautiful movie. I mean, it does have the level of intensity that you are that most viewers are accustomed to with Scorsese's work. But it does have an underlying tragedy to it that is heartbreaking, and that you do really feel for Jake LaMotta, despite his faults, despite his horrible sins. He's not someone that could be quite self-aware. You see hints of it in the movie. You see hints of him saying, I've done bad things in my life. Maybe this is my punishment. And kind of what it all boils down to. Outside the ring, his life, all the things that he does, he makes up for it inside the ring by taking a beating. That's his penance. That's his atonement. That's his suffering. That's what he pays for. I mean, that's what it really boils down to. He takes a beating, and that one scene with Sugar Ray Leonard where he just beats the fucking shit out of him, and you see the camera go, and you see like the blood dripping from the ring. Oh my god, that's just intense. So really, I mean, it is hard to pick a Scorsese movie, but this one is him and De Niro and Pesci in rare form, and of course Paul Schrader also wrote the screenplay. They know how to do complex characters, and they know how to not overdo it. So it is a really great film. I think it did deserve to win, and it's a classic. I mean, you don't need me to tell you that Raging Bull is an absolute classic, but one of my favorite movies. Really, really great. So yeah, that's pretty much my review. Thanks for watching.